We're here. Welcome, people. My name is Madeline Conti. If you have never met me before, I am a kettlebell coach out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have a program called Kettle Club that I love so much. I discovered my passion for kettlebells just a few years ago, but as you can see, it's become kind of my whole life at this point. That's how much I love the kettlebell. I feel like it's just such a great tool to use for everyone. There's so much carryover into sport. It's a little bit more comfortable to hold, in my opinion, than a big old dumbbell. And I love how it carries over to Olympic style weightlifting, particularly for me, because that is my chosen method of brute strength work. But the kettlebell, for me, in my training, kind of fills in the gaps. There's a lot of things that we can't really get to with the barbell, because we always have two hands on the bell. So it's nice to do offset load with the kettlebell, single arm work, just unilateral work in general, and really challenge our cores. I feel like I'm so much stronger overhead now with the barbell because of all of my kettlebell work. And that's what we're going to be getting into today, is our use of the core with the kettlebell. A lot of what we're going to see today is maybe not what you're typically used to in a Kettlebell Kings live workout. Some of it is going to kind of look like Pilates, but I promise you it is so worth learning and putting it into your toolbox to use in your own programming, because I'm telling you, it's good stuff, okay? So we're gonna be starting with mobility. All you're gonna need for this whole workout is a single kettlebell. However, I'm gonna show you guys a bonus move at the end that you'll need 2 kettlebells and a foam roller for. If you don't have those, then just bookmark this for another day and try it on your own. It's a really good one. Let's start on the floor in tabletop position. Move these extra things away. Tabletop, knees are gonna be underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. We're gonna go through cat-cow. Getting into our spine, nice and slow, gentle movement. After you've done 3 of them, I want you to bring your right foot around to the outside of your hand, come up onto your knuckles and squeeze your knee into your shoulder. Keep going through cat-cow. Switch sides for those who are just tuning in. My name's Madeline. I'll put my username in the little comment section and pin it. If you want to see more of this, I do this kind of work with the kettlebell all the time. It is the bread and butter of my programming, but also barbell work. I love both. Come up into a tall half kneeling position. Now I want you to grab your foot behind you. If you are not able to grab your foot, grab your kettlebell and prop up your foot on the handle. All right, it's a nice way to get that foot up there, but not as high as maybe you would by holding your hand on your ankle. All right, from here, we're gonna challenge ourselves. Either let your hand go and keep your foot in the air, or you're gonna curl your foot up off of the handle of the kettlebell. It's gonna be a lot of hamstring, and your foot and hamstring might cramp like mine did. Bring it down and then switch sides. I'm gonna go more from the side so that y'all can see. So, tall half kneeling position, foot is propped up on the handle of the kettlebell. I'm squeezing my glutes so that my pelvis is tucked, and then I'm going to curl my foot off of the handle of the kettlebell. And once you can't stand it anymore, bring it down, okay? I'm doing like taste test version of everything today because I'm only gonna keep y'all on here for about 25 minutes. I don't wanna make it too long. The point of this one today is lunch crunch, okay? We're doing it fast. It's all you really need, but when you have more time, obviously do a few of those instead of just one. Let's get into the shoulders now. So I want you to stand up tall. Arms are gonna be out in front of you and you're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades down and back. From here, we're gonna reach forward, shrug up, squeeze back, squeeze down. So we're going through all 4 different little corners of where our shoulder blades can go. And my theory around all of my training is if you can move there, you should probably train there so that when you accidentally move there, you're strong there. We're gonna see that with the spine. We're gonna see that all throughout the core today, so that you can support yourself in all of your training. Go one more time through. And when you get done, we're now gonna do a body weight Jefferson curl. So when you guys are in the gym, I'm sure you've seen some people doing what looks like a bad deadlift with a kettlebell or with a barbell, usually with a barbell. And they are rounding their spines and rolling up one vertebrae at a time. It's actually not a bad deadlift. It's called a Jefferson curl. And we're gonna do it body weight very slowly because I don't wanna put a tool in someone's hands doing a very much like spine intensive exercise if I don't already know their pre-existing conditions and history. So I wanna keep it body weight today, but if you ever wanna experiment with the kettlebell, that's on your watch, okay? You're gonna touch your toes. I want you to lock out your legs and actually round your spine as much as you can. You should feel your lower abs when you do this. From here, I want you to try to squeeze your glutes, and we're gonna lift off the ground, again, one vertebrae at a time. So I'm keeping my chest rounded over, chin tucked. Fingers are touching my legs as I'm uncurling all the way up. And then open your chest and gaze up. Now from here, I'm gonna lead from my chin. I'm gonna tuck my chin, go through my cervical spine, trying to get a double chin. And we're rolling all the way back down. Feeling the lower abs starting to tighten as it's pulling me into that kind of cat position and all the way back down. This is such a great way to nerve floss. If y'all have heard of that one, if you've ever had like lower back pain that's very much nervy, so kind of like tender shooting pain, not dull soreness like in muscles, but nervy. You would know if you've had it. This is such a great exercise for that. You may not be able to go all the way down to the ground initially, but you just kind of start where you can. Maybe it's here, and you just practice going up and then letting gravity pull you down. Okay? Adding a kettlebell to that, you'd be holding it. You would start from the bottom though. You'd start from here and lift up and roll back down, okay? So, when you're in the gym in the future and you see someone doing that, maybe instead of judgment, you think they're probably doing that for a reason. I don't know anything about them. You know, maybe it's for spine health. And if it is, props to them. All right, let's move on to some rotation. So the spine, as I've mentioned, can move in so many different ways, and one of which is twisting. So we're gonna start with just movements that you've already done before, I'm sure. One of them is the floor scorpion, the other one is the supine twist. Then we're gonna do some that are a little bit more active. Lay on the floor, on your chest, arms out in the T. I'm gonna point my toes. You're gonna curl one leg up, lift it off the ground by squeezing your glute, open your hip, and rotate over until your foot is on the floor behind you. Come back to the center, other side, bend, lift, open the hip, and rotate. This one is also an amazing chest opener. It's kind of like the one where you put your arm on the doorway and you twist out, but it's better because you're using your body weight and gravity to rotate you into that stretch. So it's gonna be a little bit less guarding than if you were just pushing yourself into the stretch, okay? Now we're gonna do the supine twist, so lay on your back. Right knee is gonna be hugged into your chest, right arm out to the side, and you're gonna pull your knee across your body. Just go as far as your leg will go without your shoulder lifting off the ground, okay? This is the priority, and then this is second to that. I've always been able to twist all the way over. However, when I'm lifting a lot, these will get tight, my QLs, my obliques, which is okay, but we kind of want to clear them out, so this is a really great way to kind of relax into this stretch, which we're not just chilling in this stretch all day. So when you're here, if it does feel tight, I want you to put your opposite or your left hand on your right knee, and I want you to drive your knee up into your hand as hard as you can. Hold it, and then relax. Do it again, like 80% of your strength externally rotating into your right hand. or into your left hand with your right knee. Relax. One more time, pushing as hard as you can into that hand with your knee, and relax. What you'll probably notice is your glute kind of loosened up. So the way our bodies work, they're very smart, they're very adaptable. If you pose it with the threat of if you stay tight, then you will injure yourself, it'll relax. It'll be like, all right, homie, I'm okay. I listen to you. I'll relax and allow you to stretch a little bit further. Versus before, it was like, no. It was guarding, okay? So that's a good way to break through that guarding. Go ahead and bring your other knee in, pull across. This side is always tighter for me. Actually, I cannot reach the ground. So if you can't reach the floor, put your foot on the floor, kind of externally rotate a little bit more. Just allow yourself to stretch a little further. Another option would be foam roller or pillow. You can put your leg on so that it can be a little bit more passive and not so like just on because it's just floating in the air. And then from here, let's do what we were doing on the other side. So right hand is on my left knee and I'm pushing as hard as I can into my hand. You'll feel it through your glute instantly. You might feel it up into your oblique and QL, so that lower back. Relax, do it 2 more times. Push, relax. 1 more time, push, relax. I'm gonna let the foam roller go. There we go. It has pulled down into the floor. Good. So let's move on to the workout, shall we? I've spent the first half on getting ready for it, but honestly, I'm 33, so I have to do that these days, and that's fine by me because I love mobility work. Let me see if anyone has asked any questions. I have not looked at this yet. Someone said they love the blue. Thank you. I do too. We were just talking about that. It's my favorite color other than green. Yeah, it's a good one. All right, it's by Fleo, by the way. So our first movement is going to be activating the core. Our second one is going to be challenging it in a way that you maybe have not explored before. So we're definitely going to be using a lighter bell. Our third movement is going to be definitely a movement that you've done, but maybe not this slowly. And our fourth is going to be, again, something that you maybe have not explored before, but that I've definitely posted about a lot on my page. Oh, I'm seeing a comment on YouTube. Give me 1 second. Ligament-related injury, how can I get back to doing kettlebell workouts? I'm an intermediate kettlebell user. So my first question would be which ligament? But also I would say for kettlebells, there's so many different ways you can use them. It does not all have to be ballistic. In fact, again, everything we're doing today is very slow and controlled. We're using the weight, honestly, to push against. We're not using the weight to push through the ceiling. I'm trying to think of how to describe this, but you'll see in a second, we're going to be using the weight as kind of an alternative to gravity. So I'm going to be moving the kettlebell, I'm going to be moving around the kettlebell with my arm always staying perpendicular to the floor. And from there, finding ways to stretch and contract my body against it. So honestly, this might be a great way for you to kind of reintroduce kettlebells into your routine. Cool, I don't know what that comment says, but all right, so let's get into it, shall we? So our first thing is going to be a hollow hold, and we're gonna practice this one body weight first because there's no need to put a kettlebell in if you maybe have not done a hollow hold before. So let's practice it first. So legs are gonna be out in front. I always point my toes because I used to be a ballerina. You don't have to point your toes, but it's just nice to kind of elongate through this. Arms are gonna be overhead. All I want you to do to start is to lift your back off the ground. Your arms are gonna stay by your ears, and I'm crunching up. So I'm feeling my abs working, and I'm feeling my butt tucking under, and especially using my lower abs to help lift me. From here, I want you to just bring one knee in. Doesn't matter which knee. This knee, though, I want it stacked over my hip, not past it, okay? Over the hip, so we're still feeling the resistance of the weight of the leg.
Now pull the other knee in to meet it. We're gonna go back out and then back out with both. All right, come down. What you probably noticed is that's hard just on its own. So if that felt really difficult for you to stay crunched, that might be the one that you want to do, or try this kettlebell one with us. It may actually be easier to stay tucked because you have something to push against, like I was saying before. So we're gonna put the kettlebell on our right side. I'm gonna have you roll into a fetal position, curl the kettlebell in, kind of roll it into your chest, press up. I'm holding with the right hand. Both arms are gonna stay in the air, but they're not going to be touching anymore. And I'm gonna be up in this crunch, okay? We're gonna start this one with both legs in. And now I'm going to extend one leg and pull the other knee in, okay? So the knee is floating, or the knee drive one is floating off the ground, the other one is as well. Let's switch sides. Opposite knee drive to the kettlebell. Switch again, same side. Switch again, opposite side. Bring it down and roll it over onto the floor. Okay, to switch sides, the safest way is to drag it around your head, not to pass it over your face, okay? So I don't want to see that online anymore. It's very dangerous. We don't want to destroy the moneymaker, okay? So drag around your head to the opposite side. From that fetal position, roll it in, press it up. We're holding a crunch. Both knees off the ground, and let's extend one leg. I'm starting with opposite. Switch, same side. Switch, opposite. Switch, same side. All right, bring the kettlebell down to the floor and take a rest. Okay, so that is our variation of the hollow hold that we're doing first. In a second, I'm going to show you another one where we're working the obliques. Does anyone have any questions? Also, if that felt too hard to keep both feet floating off the ground, you can put the straight leg down on the ground to kind of push against to help you curl in. And then also you can bring your knee in a little bit further to give you some relief in the back and also to assist in staying tucked, okay? Now let's go over the oblique one. So I'm gonna start on my left side because that's just where the kettlebell is. But what I'm gonna do is start in that same position I was in, body weight, with both of my legs straight out. I'm gonna lift into a crunch, I'm gonna float my feet off the ground, then I'm gonna very gently roll kind of onto my right hip. I'm not quite getting onto my side, but I'm on my right glute, and that's going to put the emphasis on this oblique, okay? Let's do it together. Roll the kettlebell in, press it up. We're holding a crunch, both legs straight out. Now we're gonna float the feet off the ground, put this opposite arm on the side, and roll over onto your right hip. We are holding here. So feeling that left oblique, same side as the kettlebell. You can kind of play with getting more onto your back, more onto your side. And when you're tired, bring it down. All right, so this one's just an isometric hold. You can bring movement into it, but honestly, it's a little bit easier and makes more sense to start with one thing, master it, and then add flair, okay? Let's pull the kettlebell in right side. I'm up in my crunch. I'm extending my legs, floating them off the ground. Lay the other arm down on the side, on the floor, and roll over. I'm on my left glute. I'm not totally on my side, because you'll find that doesn't really feel like much. Stay on that left glute, focusing on the right oblique. Hold that crunch. Feet don't have to be very high. And when it burns, go a little further, and then bring the kettlebell down, okay? So those are our two hollow holds. We will go through these again, but just 2 times, okay? So we're gonna touch all of this twice. I honestly prefer to use these sessions
to like excite your brain with new ideas, go through it twice, and then let you put them into workouts on your own versus like, all right, let's do curls, presses, and squats and not really give you anything new, okay? So that's kind of my style. Hope that's all right with you guys. Our next one is gonna be an iron cross to a front rack, and then we're gonna hit a squat. So this one is very fun. I use iron crosses in my kettlebell flows a lot. And for those who are in my program or have seen my program before, it's all about the kettlebell flows, but we use all of our workouts throughout the week leading up to the flow day to build one movement at a time. Not one at a time, but complexes at a time, so that by the time Friday rolls around, we totally can own every skill and really have a fun time with the flow. So the iron cross is one where we're gonna clean the bell up or snatch it, bring it overhead. We'll turn the palm away because this kind of internal rotation of the shoulder is going to allow us to squeeze our shoulder blade down as we slowly, very slowly, bring the bell down to this parallel position to the floor. Now, like I was saying with the hollow hold, whichever side you're holding the kettlebell on, it's gonna ignite the other oblique. Well, think about this kettlebell being all the way out here. This is gonna be crazy on the left obliques, okay? Left obliques and QLs. So if you wanna get a really strong back, but you don't wanna just do deadlifts all the time, this is an incredible way to just give it something new to get used to, all right? New stimulus to have your body adapt to. Let's use a clean and press to get the bell overhead. Right hand on the bell, clean it up, press overhead, spin your hand away from you. What we're gonna do is that iron cross and then let it swing out and curl in to an outside clean. So I am very slowly bringing the bell down. I'm already feeling left oblique, left glute, left QL, and when you can't anymore, let it swing out and clean it up. All right, let's do one more on this side. Iron cross, let it swing out, hit that outside clean. All right, while we're here, I wanna go over what we're doing with the squat. So I'm gonna have my left arm straight out in front, and I'm very slowly gonna go one joint at a time. I'm pushing my knees forward and finding my max flexion in my ankle. And then I'm pushing my hip back, finding my max flexion in my knee. And then I'm coming back up. Let's do it again. Knees only to find the ankle flexion, hips to find the knee flexion, and back up. Bring the kettlebell down. What you probably noticed, arm was probably on fire, maybe core as well. It does take a little bit to find it. However, I'll say doing a front rack, offset front rack squat over a lunge is key if you're wanting to ignite the core. Reason is because in the lunge, I'm able to stay fairly upright, like without much struggle at all. For the squat, to fully stay upright, you have to have the ankles of Gumby, okay? Most of us, barefoot, can't totally stay upright. So it requires us with the kettlebell to drive our elbow up underneath the bell a lot to kind of stay upright in some form or fashion and at least not let the bell pull us further forward. What that's going to do is light up that opposite oblique QL, okay? So let's do all that on the other side. Clean, press, turn your palm away, squeeze your shoulder blades down. I am squeezing my glutes. I'm kind of spreading the floor apart with my feet, establishing a really strong base. This other arm is active, okay? I'm bringing it down for the iron cross, letting it swing out, and then catching in that outside clean. One more time. Turn the palm away. Iron cross. Your lats are gonna be sore tomorrow. Swing out, clean. All right, now that we're done with those, we did our two. We're gonna have the opposite arm straight out in front. I am finding how far I can go with my ankles. Then I'm bringing the hips in.
And right below parallel, I'll then slowly stand up. One more time, knees go forward, find your max flexion in your ankle, hips go back, and stand tall. Awesome. Now, if the squat still didn't feel challenging on both your dominant and non-dominant sides, that's okay. I would suggest taking those two exercises apart and doing them with different weight dumbbell or kettlebells. I don't know why I said dumbbells, I hardly ever touch them. But use a different weight kettlebell on your squat. Maybe something that's really challenging just to hold in the front rack at all, okay? And then you can really go slowly through those squats down and up and really challenge this portion of the front rack squat, okay? Our next thing is going to be my favorite of the day. And by the way, those were like exercises 2 and 3 combined. So this is number 4 right here. This one is going to be a gunslinger lateral squat into a row. We are going joint by joint here again. And what you're gonna notice is if you can't already do an overhead squat, you might be able to after this workout, because the limiting factor typically is a combination of ankle and spine, okay? And this is coming from an Olympic weightlifter. Not that I'm like at the Olympics or anything, but I do it for fun, and I really like to figure out like perfect form and like work toward that. And I'm not the strongest one in the gym, but I move well, and I understand the movements. And what I see in my own training and my clients is the limiting factor is the ankle and the spine. Well, if we can solve the ankle, then the spine now gets to kind of discover how far it can go without any other limiting factors, okay? Because that limiting factor is going to become the thing that the workout is about. So I like to kind of clear that up before then challenging myself with something crazy like an overhead squat, especially with kettlebells. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a gunslinger to bring the bell up to our side. This gunslinger is a row and a hip and knee extension combined, okay? I'm holding underneath the bell with my opposite hand, so the butt of the bell is facing forward. From here, I'm gonna step my feet out so that I'm in a really wide stance, like wider than you would ever be for pretty much anything. From here, I'm gonna drive my knee forward, right knee forward. I'm then gonna let my hips sit back to get as low as I can, and then I'm gonna add a row. Grab the bell, drive your hip forward so your knee is past your toes, and then extend the knee. Let's do it again. Do it from the side so that you can see. Gunslinger, wide stance, knee drives forward, no hip. Now hip goes back. Once you're here, row. Everything is slow. Knee comes forward again by extending the hip, and then knee extends to stand. Let's do one more on this side. Knee drives forward, hip goes back, row. Hip goes forward, so extends, knee extends, and that's it. Quad, glute, a little hamstring, foot, and wow, my upper body is lit up. Now, that one is a little less core, depending on what weight you're using. If you've got a heavy bell, it's a lot of freaking core. Because to row without twisting, and just to hold yourself still in this position, again, without the weight of the bell pulling you down, takes a lot of the opposite side of the core. Let's do the other side. Let's do 4 of them. So we'll start with the gunslinger. We'll step our feet out wide, and we're going toward the left, okay? Left knee drive, left hip, row. Hip extends, knee extends. Let's do it again. Knee, hip, row. Hip, knee. 2 more. Knee, hip, row. Hip, knee. 1 more. 1 joint at a time. And that is that. Put your bell down. All right, this final round, we're gonna really cook through this so that I can be done with y'all in about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna put my 5-minute timer on. We are going to do our first version of the hollow hold, and then our second, and then switch sides, okay? This first hollow hold is gonna be the one in the center, offset load with those knee drives. The second one, I'm gonna extend the legs and go right into the oblique hollow hold, okay? We'll then switch sides. After that, we've got the iron cross, swinging out and cleaning. We'll have 2 of those. That one's the most flowy of the workout. We'll then go into our squats, nice and slow, 2 reps. Obviously do more in your own workouts if you have the time. I don't want to keep you too long, that's why we're doing that. And also, if it was not challenging with your light bell and you'd rather do the iron cross on both sides and then grab a heavier bell for the squat, by all means, feel free. And then finally, we've got that gunslinger lateral squat to the row, okay? So that is what we got. Oh, I forgot to put my Instagram name. Let me tag it. Conti Fitness. That's your girl. I'm gonna pin it really quick and then let's get this thing started. All right, ready? 5-minute timer is started. I promise we'll be done with these by then, okay? Let's start on the right side. Do it with me, y'all. Roll onto your right. Pull the kettlebell in. Press it up. Hold a crunch. Legs are straight out. Knee drive. Same side. Switch. Opposite side. Feel free to put your foot on the ground if you need to. Switch. Same side. Switch. Opposite side. Now both legs out. Left arm on the ground. Roll onto your side and hold. We're holding about 20 seconds. Just barely on my left side, enough to get into my right oblique. You also should feel your lat. If you're squeezing your shoulder blade down in the direction of your hip, that's gonna connect your lat and your oblique. Good, bring the bell down. Drag it around your head. Let's do the other side. Roll the bell in. Press it up. Crunch, arms extended, legs out. Pull one knee in, opposite side. Switch, same side. Switch, opposite side. Switch, same side. Legs out, right arm down, roll onto your side, holding about 20 seconds. Squeeze that shoulder blade down, you'll feel the difference. More control. 3, 2, 1. Lay on your back, pull the bell down, roll it over. How are we doing, y'all? That was almost 2 minutes there. We gotta cook. A little water, because my voice sounds dry. Okay, we've got the iron cross. I'm gonna do actually what I suggested, because I've got a heavier bell here. So I'm gonna do 2 iron crosses on the right, 2 on the left, then I'm gonna switch to that heavier bell and do my squats, okay? Right hand, clean it up, press the bell overhead, spin your palm away, nice and slow, iron cross, let it swing out, clean it. Let's do one more, press, spin the hand out, squeeze the shoulder blade down, nice and slow, swing out, outside clean. All right, let's switch hands. Left hand, clean, press, spin the palm away, nice and slow, iron cross, spin out, swing out, and then clean. One more. I am resisting, I'm gonna show y'all straight on. I'm resisting like leaning away, okay? I almost wanna lean in the direction of the bell. So that I'm really utilizing every bit of my core, okay? Again, if you have not done that move before, implement it once a week. It's amazing. It's so good for really understanding how every bit of your body works together. Let's do these squats. Clean it up. Other arm straight out in front. Just gonna give you a little bit more counterbalance. And let's go one joint at a time. Knees, ankles, hips, and up. Nice and slow. All right, you can see even in 2 reps, that is a whole different way to do squats, okay? It's a way more active way, way more intentional way to get into all of your joints. Let's do the other side. Knees first, like you're sliding down a wall, then hips back, then very slowly, all of them working together to stand. Knees first, then hips, and stand. Woo, I felt it on that one. Okay, we've got our final one left, and we got 30 seconds to do it. I am gonna take longer than that. We're gonna do 4 reps per side. Go back to your lighter bell. I will say with these big competition bells, I have pretty mobile hips, so it doesn't really give me enough room to do a full row if I'm truly as low as I can be in my lateral squat. But it's not really about getting as low as possible. It's about just being really intentional in that hold. So don't set your hip lower than your knee, and you should have enough room to row. Cast iron bell, you'll have plenty of room. All right, let's do the gunslinger. Right hand, step your feet out wide. Knee first, then hip, then row. Hip extends, knee extends. Let's do it again. Knee, hip, row. Hip, knee. Knee extends. Knee flexes, hip flexes. I'm saying the opposite. Row. Now extend at the hip, extend at the knee. One last one. Knee, hip, row. Hip, knee. Woo! All right, we got our other side. Row it up on the left. Feet out wide. Here we go. Knee goes forward. Hip goes back. Row the arm. Hip extends. Knee extends. Here's 2. Knee. Hip. Row. Hip. Knee. Knee. Hip. Row. Hip, knee. One more. Knee, hip, row, hip, knee. Woo! All right. Those are the 4, kind of 3, really 4, that I taught you guys today. But I did promise that we would have a little extra one at the end. I'm only going to take a few more minutes. I promise. This one is a pike. Now there's a few different ways we can do this. One is with a foam roller, the other one is without, but either way you need 2 kettlebells or 2 very heavy dumbbells or 2 yoga blocks. That would work really well too. I don't have yoga blocks here, but I do have a plethora of kettlebells. So that's what I'm gonna be using. This top is way too hot. We gotta go sports bra. We don't have a fan in here, so it's gotten a little bit toasty. Okay, so you're gonna put your kettlebells or yoga blocks or dumbbells the distance exactly that is your hips, that your hips can fit in between. Okay, I'm gonna kind of do this from this angle. All right, then if you've got a foam roller, we're gonna put like your Achilles on it, okay? Not too high, not too low either. And you can adjust, obviously, every rep. What we're gonna be doing is putting our hands on the kettlebell like this and pressing up off the ground using your triceps and lats to kind of squeeze your shoulder blades down away from your ears. And I'm gonna sit into like a tucked position. I'm really using my lower abs to tuck. I'm also gonna lift myself off of the kettlebell as much as I can, almost inverting myself. From here, I want you to lift even higher and roll in and out. And we don't have to go past this point, okay? You don't have to go way out in front. Right here, and lift. Try to roll in all the way to your ankles, to your heels. Let's go 2 more. And come down safely. How did that feel? It is crazy how just gravity and intentional tucking will burn your abs. And this is like internal core, okay? These are not like 8 minutes to 8-pack abs workouts, okay? These are like structural, spine health, psoas, all of those things that we don't really think about in traditional workouts. And I'm talking bodybuilding, okay? I know that us kettlebell people are different, but even us, we need a little extra help with the core because we are loading our spine all the time. So it's nice to take the load away and just use these as props to lift our hips off the ground. Now, if you don't have a foam roller, hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm hearing a beeper going off. Do you know what this sound is? No idea at all. I am live right now. Oh. Say hello to Nick.
It's plugged in?
Yeah. This is kind of exciting and weird. Kind of sounds, oh, you know what? It was a timer. I got it. This is hilarious, y'all. I set a timer.
What is that sound?
Wait, this is kind of great. I'm kind of glad everyone could be watching for that. It was the timer I set, and I said I won't go over it. Clearly I did. All right, back to, let's see if my ADHD brain can remember. But if you don't have a foam roller, you don't need one for this movement. You can still get it done by just planting your feet like this, pressing up into a bridge, okay? And then extending back, kind of pivoting on your heels and lifting up. Then curling back in and lifting. So I'm tucking my pelvis, squeezing my glutes. I'm in this little hip bridge. And then I'm rolling back. I'm gonna readjust for YouTube in a second because it got kind of funky. And I'm lifted as high as I can. Biggest thing here is press through your shoulder blades, okay? So lock out the arms. You should feel your chest. You should feel your lower abs, okay? I'm gonna readjust for YouTube. Oh my gosh, that alarm going off was like so stressful. I had no idea where it was coming from. That's kind of the charm of a live workout, right? Real life shit happening in real time. All right. So let's do it again for YouTube. I'm planting my feet. I'm gonna press up into a bridge, and the right spacing is gonna be heels directly underneath my knees, okay? So that I'm not too close to the kettlebells. You also don't wanna be out here because then you can't go anywhere. Okay, so a little bend in the knee, about 90 degrees. I'm tucking my pelvis. Should feel like a good stretch through the biceps as well, especially after everything we did. And y'all, this move here, just holding, is so wonderful to open everything up. But then, of course, if you want to add a little movement in, I'm pulling back. I'm actively tucking. I'm extending my legs and pressing away from the floor. And then I'm curling back forward. Open chest. One more. I'm initiating this movement through my hip, tucking under, pressing away from the floor, and curling forward again. You can probably hear my voice, that was hard. Okay, the slower it is, the harder it is. So I highly encourage you guys to slow it down. It does not all have to be fast. And this goes back to what the YouTube comment was saying, like, what is the best way to reintroduce kettlebells into my training if I've had an injury recently, especially a ligament one, a tendon one, those little things that connect our muscles to our joints. Keep it slow, okay? You want to give your body the best chance it can to adapt well. And if it's coming off of injury, it doesn't necessarily remember all of those orders of events of which muscle to fire to get your body to move a certain way. So you gotta like spoon feed it, okay? Nice and slow movement, really searching for those muscle contractions to support whatever posture you're in, whatever movement you're doing. Make sure those muscles are turned on for the movements, and you're not just like, dropping into squats, okay? It's way better to keep it slow and mindful, okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, sorry about the little alarm going off. That was my bad. I set a timer to try to keep me on track, and then I scared myself with the same timer. But again, YouTube, thank you for joining. Thank you for the comments. Instagram, it's hard to keep up with comments on here because it's always telling me when new people are coming in. But again, thank you guys for joining. This will be posted to the Kettlebell Kings page and my page. My Instagram and YouTube account is Conti Fitness. So if you want to see more workouts like this, please feel free. And if you made it to the end of this live workout, we are hosting an event. I came up with this cool kettlebell event called Bellfest that we had our first iteration of back in September in Atlanta. It was so much fun. We all had the best time. We all clearly needed it. And I just did a poll the other day just asking, like, what are your age ranges? What do you do for work? Like, what is your background? Everyone was so different. Everyone came from all over the country and the world. And they were all kind of in that like 30 to 50 age range, which was honestly the coolest thing, because I feel like for us over 30-year-olds who are busy with work and busy with families and busy with all the life stuff, the important life stuff, it's hard to make new friends, especially like people that value the same things as us, which kettlebells we all have in common. That might be the only thing that we all have in common, but we all love it and we all love to learn. And I've found that like kettlebell people in particular, this community loves to learn new things, because for most of us, the kettlebell is kind of new. That was another question I asked them was, when did you start working with the kettlebell? And about half of them were coaches, but the other half were enthusiasts who have started just a year ago, okay? Less than a year ago. So it's just really an exciting time for the kettlebell community. And so I put this event together basically just to get us all together as like a family reunion / take classes with 17 different coaches, okay? It's actually double that, but it's 17 different classes, about 30 coaches, and you'll learn hardstyle, sport, juggling, flow, multiple different versions of those too, with all these different coaches. It's so much fun. So it is March 16th and 17th in Dallas, Texas. I'm super pumped for it. We're just 2 months away. We have, 8 more all-in tickets available and about 40 more of like the general admission tickets, which are 8 class packs. So the all-in gets you a spot in every single one of the classes, which is a lot, but with it only having 8 left, you can see how much people want that. Those are mostly people that came to the last event and they were like, oh my God, I wish I had taken Gavin's class, and I wish I had taken Lisa's class, and so on. And so they just wish that they had gone ahead and done all of them. So they have done that for this one. It's gonna be so much work all in 2 days, but it's totally worth it. You will be sore, but we will have a hyper ice recovery room and IV therapy, all sorts of stuff to help get you through the 2 days. And again, I can't say it enough. It's so much fun. So today and tomorrow only, you can use the code KBK50 for 50% off of your tickets. 50%, all right? And these are about $250 tickets for the all-in and about $150 for the 8 class pack. So you could attend for less than $100. So if you're within driving distance of Dallas or a short flight and you book your flight early enough, it's a lot of bang for your buck. So I would love for you guys to join us.
I love the Kettlebell Kings community because I feel like, gosh, there's always so many viewers of these live streams, and that's not always the case. And especially when I see it on YouTube, it's just such a vibrant community. And I would love to meet you guys, teach you, learn from you, learn alongside you in other coaches' classes. It's gonna be just a great time. So utilize that code. I'll post it. I'll post it on Instagram. I don't know if I'll comment it on YouTube, but please join me if you're free that weekend. It is St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's a little cheaper to book a space for the event on a holiday weekend, but it seemed to work out for a lot of people because I think a lot of people have that Monday off, which kind of works out well. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you again for joining me. I'll see you all next time. I'm on about once a month with Kettlebell Kings, and I actually host a lot of other live classes throughout the week. Right now, we're actually doing one with every single coach from Belfast, and I get to be the student in all of them. So we've got another one coming up this Friday. So go follow me on my page, and you can keep track of all of that, all right? See y'all next time. Thank you again. And again, sorry about the alarm. Bye.